Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to ENLIVEN Radio. I'm your host, the one and only Mr. LP. Stephen Sykes here with Mr. Sincere. How you doing today, Mr. Sincere?
Very wet.
Very wet. I understand. First off, I want to apologize to everybody for the delay. Today is May 7th, 2013, we're broadcasting live from the den out here in Richmond, Virginia, broadcasting to the world. Those who are still with us, I thank you very kindly for your time and your patience. And don't worry, we'll have the broadcast of this online on the Mixlr page, on the show reel, and also on YouTube. So please have no fear if those of you who may have missed it. First off, I pray that everybody's out there safe. We're having a bad weather out there with some rain, some hail, a lot of accidents, a lot of people injured. I pray that everybody stay safe and we don't have no deaths on the news. So I want to make sure that, everybody's doing good with that. So I appreciate it. Mr. Sincere, first off, let me apologize. Let me do the right thing. I promised to open up this show, all the shows with a prayer, and I'm going to do that and keep my word on that with the good Lord upstairs. So bear with me. Dear Lord, I thank you very much for helping us through this day, through these technical difficulties and all these challenges in life and weather and health, and just, keeping your hands upon us and letting us know that no matter what, we're always here. You're always here for us, Lord, and I thank you very much. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Mr. Sincere, how was your week today?
So far, like I said, wet, rainy. I thought today was gonna be enough to do with all of the bad weather this morning, but this evening really just tipped my hand. I'm done with it.
And everything. So I understand and everything else. I'm glad that you're doing pretty good and things, and so we're doing good there. First off, everybody, I want to go ahead and jump on in to today's topic is about wellness and getting fit and getting healthy and a whole bunch of different things out there. And, we know the statistics, many of us are not do well. Besides the body mass index, a lot of us have pot bellies, a lot of us are not breathing right, a lot of us got cancer, a lot of us got all types of illness and things, and a lot of it's from the foods that we eat. High fructose syrup, corn syrup, a lot of different things out there. I'm not going to bore you with the crazy statistics on certain things, but I just want to let you know that we need to make a change. And here with us today, I have Mr. Kurt Studevant. Which was it, sir? I apologize. Studevant. I'm sorry, sir. Please forgive me. I tried to, I seen it spelled the same way, it's pronounced 20 different ways, so you have to forgive me. Studevant. Okay, so Mr. Studevant is a special education teacher. Works with here in Richmond, Virginia at the Falling Creek Elementary School. He's also an author of the book called A Parable of Health and Fitness. He also is an owner of Naturally Building Body and Spirit. He also has a Facebook page. If you look that up for everybody, it is Naturally Building Body and Spirit. And if you want to get in contact with him, his number is 804-481-5544. Again, that's 804-481-5544. And if you look up his name, it's Kurt, K-I-R-T, Studevant. Studevant. So, sir, how's your day?
It's going well.
It's going well. Okay, I'm glad. Well, sir, first off, thank you very much for coming to ENLIVEN Radio. We appreciate it, and I thank you and your family for your patience for all our technical difficulties. So, sir, let me ask you this. How did you become a teacher, special education teacher? We don't, unfortunately, you're rare breed in this world. You're a black man and who's a teacher.
Yes, just getting involved with, ever since coming up, I always wanted to work with children. And so as I looked at things, as I became a juvenile correctional officer, then I worked for alternative school called Social Education Services. And at the time, I decided to become a full-time trainer. And things started to change for me, and I want to get back into got a degree in child development.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the time, they had the career switcher program.
Okay.
And so I decided to go for it and see what happened. Became special education teacher.
Okay. Well, cool. Let me backtrack a little bit for you, sir. Where are you from?
Chesterfield, Virginia.
Oh, gee. Born and raised?
Born and raised in Chesterfield.
Okay, not a problem. And, I don't have any other ladies guests here, but I could say, with confidence that he's a good man in good health and good condition that the ladies would like. So, now growing up in Chesterfield, what was that like for you as a young African-American man?
I was growing up in Chesterfield, we never ran into a lot of challenges. Like a lot of people might have ran into different prejudice or racism. I never ran into it because of the way I carried myself and the way my mother brought us up. We never put ourselves out there.
You had to figure the belt.
Exactly.
Okay. We're honest here. We're going to keep it real.
Exactly. Absolutely. Got to be honest.
So, in other words, that's a politically correct say. I feel my mom in the belt. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Did you have a lot of other male figures besides your mom and things like that you grew up with and things?
This is good. My brothers. My brother was a big influence on Dad also, but my brothers mainly because they was playing sports and I was a little nut in the neighborhood running around trying to catch with everybody else. But of course things change later.
I understand. Well, you the youngest. How many brother siblings I should say you have?
We call us a Brady Bunch. 11 set of boys. Got 3 sisters. 2 brothers there.
Ooh, okay, I understand. All right, so now as you grew up, you went to school. Which high school you went to Chesterfield?
I went to Coville High School.
Coville, okay, so shout out to everybody in Coville. And then you decided to grow up going through college. You played sports?
Yes, played football, played for 11 years. Played at Coville, like I said, and then I went on to play at Ferrum College.
Okay, I know where Ferrum is. There's a lot of people from Homeland down there. Okay, so now you went to Ferrum. You played at Ferrum in football. What position you play?
I was a fullback.
Fullback?
I was a tailback in high school, but they converted me to a fullback.
Scored any touchdowns?
A lot. I led the team in, believe it or not, a fullback. I led the team in rushing for 3 out of 4 years.
Oh, what's your stats? Who rushing was your career? I don't know that number, man.
I'd say probably average about 600 yards.
600 yards? Okay,
A
yeah.
season a year there, so not bad for a fullback.
All right. Not bad for a fullback. We got some things. Okay. I wish I had you and I tried to play. I might have done something.
Lead the way that is.
Yeah. We ain't going to go there today. We ain't going to go there today.
I'll leave that alone.
For right now, we'll go there. So you went to Ferrum and you studied at Ferrum, special education.
I studied child development. I got a minor in recreation, and then I went on to grad school at Virginia State University.
Okay. Now, what got you, throughout all of this, what got you into child development?
What got me, because of the challenges I've overcome. My dad was around, but I could say not around.
Okay.
And the things that we overcame as a family, when my mother worked as housekeeping, and I wanted to show other children out there, other youth, that you can make it with a single parent. As long as you got positive siblings, positive things, or environment, and you can make it.
Okay. Well, I can actually appreciate that and relate to that very well. So now that you've gone in child development, you went into school, did you decide you always want to stay in this area, or did you want to go somewhere else? So what made you come back to Chesterfield?
Well, because of the community that I was around, I love the environment, the people I was around friendly people, and people always treated me with respect as the same as I always respected them. So that's why I decided to stay around here.
Okay, I can appreciate that. Now, you started off as a correctional officer, initial first job out
of college.
Correctional officer, okay. We'll see people, you can get a job after college.
Right.
You just got to do the right thing. Well, by the way, did you join any groups, associations, fraternities?
No, we didn't have that at Ferrum.
What?
We didn't have any type of fraternities there.
Okay.
Sound like Martinsville.
See.
All right, let me stop. All right,
so we got some people down there that can do some damage. I just want to let you know. But now that you got here, work with, how was that experience working with as a correctional officer?
It was an enlightening experience because you'd be very surprised what these young men was going through. Things that they used to tell me stories about going to their homes, and I always wanted to know, why did they do the things that they do? But once they, because I think we don't realize that these young men they end up there for a reason. And once they told me why they did the crimes or things that they have done, it was heart-touching. Very heart-touching and very surprised what people really don't know, because I think we just judge them just because, say, okay, he's a juvenile, so he's got to be this bad person. And some of these young men wasn't. It was just a circumstance, environment they was under that caused the pressure.
I have a question. What's the difference between you, I, Mr. Sincere, and things like that? And the reason why I say that is, not granted we all, not just us, but even with some of those children who strayed to the wrong path, we knew right from wrong. Cool. And things was not necessarily the best, but we knew that, okay, you can't use that as an excuse. Young men did not have fathers at home, just any other older friends. Now, I was fortunate to have a lot of good male influences around me, and so did you. But the thing about it is, even when that wasn't there available, somebody was not there to give us the right answer, we had to use the common sense and we had to pray. Sure. So why let's say I didn't have any food at home, so I decided to steal, for example. And I understand that's a powerful motivator, and that's type of stress and family, you got people home and hungry, what are you going to do? But versus, okay, let me seek out some churches, let me seek out some social programs, let me find some way to eat, or let me pick up cans, whatever to motivate yourself, versus the easy way out is steal. Correct. Why?
I think the easy way out is steal because what was being presented to them in the environment and what they see on TV. A lot of them was put in situations where some of them didn't have like a mother around. Some of their mothers was strung out on drugs. And so they had to go into the survival mode. Okay. And they didn't have any type of positive role models like we might have had. We had somebody like a cousin or a neighbor who would step in if we're doing something wrong. The neighbor down the street will call our mother, or somebody will step you up to show you how to be a man. Mm-hmm. But most of these young men I work with, they didn't have any type of positive role model around.
I'm finding a lot of parents get mad. And I see a lot of young guys, young boys and girls, and I see something, I'll say something to them. But then the parents get mad at me, you're trying to teach you how to raise the kids, or you're saying something. But I mean, if I did something wrong, a lot of times I wasn't even doing anything wrong, but somebody is going to check you anyway. I didn't understand, dang, why are you always on me? But I could honestly tell you, I learned more than some of the players in the school. And I think he just did that just to stay on my butt. And I don't understand now why the culture different now, because people was like, okay, don't say nothing to my child. But then if somebody kept tapping on that child's shoulder, maybe something was right. What's going on these days?
Well, I just see the change as far as a lot of parents have to learn to follow through on things. Okay. A lot of these students that I work with now, a lot of them get a lot of broken promises. And a lot of parents not working when we was in school, working 9 to 5. We got parents working 3 to 11 and working graveyard shift, and some of these children are asked to raise themselves and not to raise their little brother or sister at home and not give no parenting guidance.
But your older brothers and sisters didn't have that, and the same thing. Your mom worked what you said, she cleaned floors.
Well, she was a housekeeper, and, but the difference was she'd get home by 4 or 5 o'clock. Okay. Compared to now, these parents, most of them working 3 to 11, and I hate to say it, some of them doing their own thing. Yeah. That's another thing that we run into.
Yeah, they want to do your own thing and forget about everybody else.
So I always tell them, once they can start microwaving and cooking food, it means it was over.
It was over. Okay, so now we go into juvenile corrections, and you keep it now. You're the man in good shape. Were you always in this good shape after college, or did you let it go, or did you decide to keep on?
Always. I was a type person because in our neighborhood, I had to keep up. Was playing basketball, football in the neighborhood. We was very active in our neighborhood. I mean, volleyball, even though we live in the country, we'll have a softball game going on a Sunday afternoon, and something physically active. And I just loved the way I felt after training.
Now, I don't have the belt or hit, but can I get your specs? You are 6 or 5?
About 5'10" and a half.
You're 5'10" and a half to...
I I weigh roughly, it depends on weight, about 300.
You weigh about, so you're 5'10", 300 pounds.
Yes.
How much fat?
I don't know. I say probably roughly between 18 and 20%. You know, at this time of the off season here.
Off season.
As I call the off season.
Okay. We're about to get into that. So the size, feet, hands, biceps, you got, was it 43 chest?
My chest, to be honest, I wear like a 56 coat. And my chest is around 54, 52 range. My arms around 22 when they pumped up. Unpumped in the gym, they're about 21 and a half. My thighs are roughly about around 33.
And the size of your shoes?
Size of my shoes about a 12 to 13. Depends on which company shoes, because I always wore 12, but now it seems like my feet have grown with some companies, and then sometimes it hasn't. So, what's up with the shoe question?
The issue is
that's a lady that you just asked.
Well, this is for the ladies. You know, I'm gonna be. You know, I have to be fair. They're not here. I just want to make sure. Well, I wear 14, 15, sir. So I just want to let you know. I may not get to everything else, but I can still put my foot down.
I'm not gonna mess with that one.
But, you know, I had to get the dimensions for the ladies and things. He has a nice smile. He has brown eyes and things like that. So, you know, I'll take a picture and put it in my mind. So I just want to let you know. I don't want to get in trouble. Now, so how long did you work as a corrections officer?
I worked for 2 years.
2 years. So, okay, so after you made your millions, now what did you decide to go through there?
What I did, like I said, went on and became a counselor.
Counselor
in the social education services. Became a case manager and then a program manager as a alternative school, after school alternative program to help students to get off, just a juvenile house, to help get them off probation.
Okay. Now, once we go into all of this, I'm assuming you were encouraging young men and women to improve in their health and wellness as well.
Yes. I was encouraging us. The one thing they do with me, looked at me and loved, were working out, they always see me bringing my containers of food in.
Well, now, was it because of your size or that they, obviously they listen to you, but was it their size and influence, and the students come up and say, okay, I want to get that big, or how can I get myself in shape like you? There was a common aspect you received from kids?
Yes, that's what I mean from day one. Once I started working with them, there's always a question. Even to this day, even I had some parents, they always laugh about, Mr. Stutterman, my son, all of a sudden now wants to buy lean meat. He's eating salads, and even with that, it was very amazing with Mr. Sincere as we worked together. He can tell you that when I should bring a simple grilled chicken sandwich in, or grilled chicken and see me eating broccoli and rice, these would come up and ask me, and I'm looking at it as, somehow never had no boneless chicken breasts, and I had to sit back and think, so wait a minute, some of these students not used to seeing a healthy meal because all they know is McDonald's.
I understand. So now, as you were going through this, I'm assuming you decided to go into personal training.
Yes, I did a little bit of personal training, in college as experiment, but I decided to go into it a little bit when I was working as a program manager, as a part-time, to see how it feels to be involved with personal training people, because I wanted to make a difference in people's lives, but not just their lives, but also the mental aspect of it.
Okay, so now you've been in this for full time now for the last few years.
Yes, I've been training now for about personal training people about 15 years, and I have my own business now going on 3 years.
Okay, now you said off season. Tell me about the off season. Where are you off season from?
Well, the off season, just saying, you never know. Like I compete in powerlifting, and then I compete in bodybuilding. Started out with bodybuilding, then I switched over to powerlifting. And usually, being a drug-free athlete, you got to try to put on as much muscle mass as you can. And the powerlifting helped me to help put on the size that I needed. And I went back in the bodybuilding, I competed in bodybuilding over 8 years. And it was just one of those things I like to train and try different techniques on myself. But now I'm on my way back down to a more comfortable weight.
So were you, now forgive me, I'm familiar with the weight classes, but for our listeners out there who are not, what weight classes did you compete in?
just saying when I was competing in bodybuilding, it was a super heavyweight, which is 225 and above, but in powerlifting, I competed in the 308 category or the 308 plus.
Did you look into going Olympic level or pro level, or were you just amateur competitions, or were you going into pro?
Well, one thing, they don't have powerlifting in Olympics, but just saying in general, I thought about trying to turn pro in powerlifting, but there's a lot of categories, a lot of things that I'm not willing to go that drug route, to be honest.
Okay,
I'm
gotcha.
a drug-free athlete, but I like training, just saying the AAU organization, very good organization. I train in USAPL. I won 2 world championships in the AAU, and currently still hold the world record for my raw category, which means no suits, just a belt. 771 pounds in a deadlift.
Now, when you say suits in your belts, please explain that for those.
What it means by that, in powerlifting, you can wear a suit, a super shirt, they call it.
Okay. Oh, to hold it.
To hold it in and keep it tight. And we're talking about if you can get the right shirt. I've seen guys put 300 to 400 pounds on that bench press. I've seen them on their squat add easily 400 to 500 pounds even on their squat with these suits. But I do it just with a belt.
Can you do the CrossFits and those other things? I know some of those things is hard when you get to this size that you are.
Right.
One of the things is everything upper body is hard for people with match because you can't get your arms set up.
It'll be very difficult. I mean, I respect the CrossFit athletes a lot. And for me being 300 pounds, I'm saying, but more than likely, if I can get myself like on a timely schedule, I know I can't compete with them, but I know I can say maybe drop down about maybe 50 pounds or maybe give it a run and see how it goes. But I'm 42 years old now, so a lot of hardness on the body. 42 years young, lady. Yes, I'm 42 years
Or
young.
the Ironman, do you do bicycling, or like what do you do? Obviously, you're doing weight. What are you doing conditioning
As
wise?
far as conditioning wise, I like to, believe it or not, hit the boxing bag. I do a variety. I go run hills right around here in Richmond Church area. I like to go up there to the steps. I like doing a stepper meal. I like a variety, especially with the outdoors now. Now I just started my track workout. You know, not saying to get faster, but get myself in complete shape. And I'm just enjoying it because it gets boring sometimes. You know, on the treadmill, I might walk with a 45-pound plate holding it. I might run steps holding a 45-pound plate over my head. So it's a wide variety.
I'm familiar with those things. You know, they're having the parachutes and all the other stuff, the weights, and whew, I don't know.
Yes.
And I'm scared of all that because when he gets his hands on me, I feel it every time.
See, I understand. I've been there, done a lot, so I can understand all those different things. I'm not able to do some of those things now due to asthma and other things, but I'm working to get back there eventually. So now you're looking into all of this. What is your food regimen like?
My food regimen, the way I see it now, believe it or not, I'm a person who grew up in the country. You know, meat is the number one thing. But what I've been experimenting with, I'm cutting back on meat and turning to more beans. Things like that, getting my proteins from beans, because what I discovered that so much meat had ate over the years. And when I switched over to beans, you know, because I used to be like vegetarian. I'm not a person looking at turning vegetarian, but now I understand the method behind it. As we look at it, food, just saying you're killing an animal, that meat is dead. But if you look at any seed that you put in, it's to grow, to help you live.
Correct.
So now I've got the motto of eat food to live, not to die.
I understand.
And so I've cut back tremendously, and now I'm just saying at least three to four of my meals is without meat now.
Now, I'm a person that's always try to leave raw meat as much as I have over the years. I'm a big proponent of ground chicken, ground turkey.
Correct.
I've eat a lot of friends that get mad at me. One young lady now gets mad at me because I'm always fussing at her about brown noodles, whole wheat noodles, and things like that. My stepmom, she is a big proponent of healthy living. We eat a lot of things. She and Lord forgive me, I forgot the nutrient drink. It's the one with the N. Is all the protein drink. Jesus, Lord forgive me. But if she's listening, I'm sorry, ma'am. Please forgive me. But I drink a lot of those drinks or the alkaline water and things like that. Are you drinking a lot of water or juices, or how are you like doing that with the sugar and the stuff?
Basically what I've started to do, just saying, like I said, drink a lot of water, bottled water, try to get a gallon of water a day. Just saying for a flavor, sometimes I have a diet drink, a diet soda once in a while just to get that little flavor in there that you have. But basically, even with me, I'm even making my own like protein shakes now. I used to use the powders. I've gone to more of using vegetables like carrots and celery and making shakes and using the egg beaters and then add a little bit of orange juice to it because I'm looking at a way of the nutrients. That's why I'm getting the proper nutrients that my body need. Like me personally, I don't even take no vitamins anymore. I just get it from the foods that I eat in a healthy diet.
Okay. Now that you're eating this healthy diet, how are you sleeping at night? Or like how are you doing your day? Are you tired still? Are you still needing 5-hour energy shots? Things like that?
Well, usually I never did any type of energy drinks, anything like that, because even when I've tried it, it hasn't done anything for me because I'm eating healthy, just eating this way 80 to 90% of the time for most, that's over 25 years since I've been training. And so what I sit down and do now, the only time that I have a sleepless night, what I notice, is taking in too many carbohydrates. If I take in too many carbohydrates, then I have a restless, very, I don't get any sleep hardly. But what I've noticed is, since cutting back on the meat, it has made a tremendous difference on my sleeping pattern, where I'm able to sleep through the night.
Okay. Now that you're getting through the night and you're drinking a lot of water, juices, what is it now that you're applying this towards your career now as a personal trainer?
Well, the main thing where the things I'm applying with the clients I work with is try to show them not to do quick fixes. Mm-hmm. And I don't knock supplements. I would spend a lot of money in it. But we got to realize that we've got to make a lifestyle change. And so what I try to do with all my clients is, hey, let's make a better choice. Let's gradually change these things. Like if you're in a bag of chips, for example, okay, let's switch over to baked potato chips. And so when I try to apply these things that I'm doing, I'm a person that always try it on myself. I'm not gonna put a client on something that I've never done. And so I'm trying to implement to them that it's a lifestyle change that they have to make, especially as we get older. And most people don't think about that. They think about saying, okay, I need this quick fix for 90 days. And trust me, I could design any diet in 90 days that cause you to drop weight, lose weight fast without no supplements, without taking anything. But the question is, can you maintain it?
Well, what about those who, let's say, who are struggling, let's say, okay, for example, let me give you two examples. Those who, let's say, my situation, or others who may have some extenuating health circumstances, let's say heart, blood, what have you, or in other situations, okay, I'm working out, I may be too big, so my ankles and knees and things like that, so I got to do other things. Now, I've always suggested to a lot of people, my biggest thing that I've always loved, swimming. Right. And because it's not as the pressure and things like that. So I'm always encouraging whirlpool, jacuzzi, get your exercise in, heated pools, or other stuff like that. Right. What are some things that you're suggesting?
Well, like I say, of course, when you look at the circumstances that you're under, I always recommend people to add some type of resistance training, like you're saying, with swimming. Like if you're a person, I know some people that the doctor told them you can't lift any weights, but at least can go to a pool to add resistance. I'm a person that always believe in adding resistance because as we get older, our muscle starts to atrophy. And so we lose so much percentage per year. I think it's around, research showed about 5% per year. You lose muscle if you're not working out. And so you got to realize you got to find a way to try to maintain it or strengthen it.
But now, how are you doing this? Because you, like you said, because of your size and the type of work that you do, you're a high protein guy. Right. But now, how is that helping you in terms of your bones to maintain that? Because obviously you're 42 now. What are you going to do when you're 62? It's not healthy to keep this at 62.
Exactly. And so that's what, with me, when I lose weight, we cut back on a heavy training. I'm a person that like to train heavy. And what I do is just basically go into a routine of cut back on the meals. I'm doing about 4 to 5 small meals a day because I know I'm going to carry 300 pounds around all my life. And that's why I'm on my way down to, I say a comfortable weight of getting down to maybe 260, 265 and being comfortable at that weight. But I'm gradually dropping down because I know, like I said, as we get older, things start to change. Cholesterol, we got to watch everything for all of us. And so that's why I try to maintain a low-food diet where I'm not eating a lot of trans fats. You know, I'm an olive oil person. You know, not using a lot of these unhealthy things, and even going a little bit to organic meat.
Now, what is your, now let me ask you some information in comparison to here, or social issues. Why are so many people, especially African American men, are against getting our health straight versus other, leading cultures?
You know, that's an interesting question, and I always question myself. I think by the fact personally is where we're growing up, where we're growing up from day one, you know, where people are always saying, hey, let's eat the soul food. And we don't want to make any changes. And it's very important. I mean, when I go in the gym, I'll be honest, in certain gyms, there is only approximately maybe 5% African Americans. And it varies. And when we try to correct them, you know, with eating, you know, and say, hey, let's live a better life, let's live a healthier life, we get offended. We get mad.
Because, you know, here's an interesting fact I found, okay? And I'll post this up online, everyone. When you go to certain populations, there's large cultures, like, for example, let's go to certain communities that have a large Asian American and Pacific Islander culture, heavy in the gym, will walk, they're very big walking bike. Like here in Richmond is a very big walking bike. Every other week is a jog or bicycle race.
Right.
You know, it's like, what can you do? But like here, New York and Boston, other places, major cities are very big runner states. You see things, but places that have large population, African American populations, at one time Richmond, Atlanta. Not very big on health and training. Well, there's plenty of gyms, but not in there.
Plenty of other stuff down there too that we were talking about.
We're going to leave that one alone.
Jason Collins.
Oh, Jesus. Here we go. We look at all the clubs that people want to go to, but that's another...
Strokers.
That's another show. But why? Just why?
I mean, like I feel personally, it's just the fact that we don't take it seriously. You know, when a lot of African American males, like I said, when we talk about the issues, you know that we rank number one, high blood pressure, heart attacks. I mean, we rank high on everything, but we don't want to make those changes.
Yeah, I'm looking on here now, the CDC site, okay? The number of deaths of African Americans from as of 2011, 283,438 per year. Okay, leading cause of death, not from killing each other, just from killing each other, heart disease, cancer, stroke, and then a lot of infants have died because almost half because of health issues from besides the drugs and AIDS, but also health things passed down from parents, hypertension, high blood pressure, nicotine addiction, all these other different things, and that's really sad.
Yes, it is. I mean, I think what I feel personally, also, like I said, in my neighborhood, all of us, all African Americans, we was always involved in sports, and I think the environment you're around, because just saying of going to Colville High School, majority Caucasian, sure, but it was around an environment that's being taught about the importance of being involved with sports, being active. And most of us, we get comfortable after we start playing sports. We get comfortable and say, oh, we don't need to do this no more. Why do this? I don't have nothing to live for, you know, and, you know, I'm just happy, you know, it's just a fact of it. And also, I feel personally, I saw a show on this, where this Caucasian guy was talking about it with African Americans. He was saying if African Americans ate better and started taking care of themselves better, because we live 7 years less than Caucasian. He said if they started to change things, he said watch the government start changing the food and start doing more research.
Now, we already have the stats. That was my next question. Thanks for the transition. What are your view on some of the issues like we won't ban? We're the last leading nation, power nation out there that don't want to ban the fructose corn syrup and other things that's out there. What are your views on that and just the overall government's initiation? Because you see, every year there's always been an initiation when kids get fit. You see the NFL doing the Work 60. You see the NBA get fit. You see, that's the WNBA get fit. The NBA is actually, you know, putting out an initiative to get play. You have Michelle Obama's health program.
Right.
What is your view on all of this? And I know this is a loaded question. And on top of all that, fitness taken out of schools because of budget.
Well, that's what I feel the problem is. I always talk to people about this. When I look at things that are out here, the food toast, they know the difficulties that these children are having. And it makes you think, saying, wow, you're still giving them food toast when you know that this is affecting their brain. And we continue to do it. Let's take a look at the fast foods. Now it's more coupons, 99-cent menu, dollar menu. And I'm like, if we're trying to be a healthy nation and try to take care of things, why not changing these things with children? There was one child that I knew that was 9 years old that had the cholesterol of an adult. And you see these things are happening, and you're going to take away health and fitness. You know, it's almost like taking out the music of the arts, something that's entertaining, something that's going to make them better. And you look at these children, and you know what's going on. You put more ads out. You put more things to make it easier access for them. It makes me think, saying, wow, are you trying to decrease the population?
It's crazy. I'm looking at some stats here, and while you're telling me, you know, neonatal and postnatal, everything is all related to health. Now, this is universal for all races, but the percentage in us is high. SIDS, post-neonatal, SIDS is up there, congenital malformations, different, can't say, I need to zoom it in, chromosome abnormalities, accidents is number 3, but the rest is disease to circulatory, heart, expansion of the brain, influenza, pneumonia, chronic respiratory diseases. You know, just that alone, 1,574 kids died.
Right.
Last year alone. Wow, that's just sad. That's a lot of young African American children that could have been leaders, doctors, whatever, just because parents didn't take care of themselves when they were young. You know.
Exactly. You know, because you look at the increase. As you know, and not saying that this Dollar Tree, but when you go in the stores, I'll be observing a lot of African American children when they buy things. They buy the big 3-liter. And I'm looking at, I said, that's no more corn syrup, red dye, and all these things right here to kill the brain cells. And a lot of us do not realize that what's going on. Even when I'm out in the grocery store, when I'm out at Walmart, and when I'm watching people who's getting the food stamps, for example, and you watch them with the baskets. You don't see them, you got to order when you go to the grocery store. If you pay attention, there's an order in the grocery store. When you go to a grocery store, there's a produce section. All right, what I'm watching.
Produce is right up front.
Right up front. They skip through the produce, go hit the aisles. We're talking about the noodles, there's ice cream. The meats is the last thing that they might get. And what's interesting, as you notice, in the grocery store, they put all the candy at the end so people can buy these things.
Because it's low, the kids want it.
Right, the kids want it. And so one day a lady, a cashier, she was like, sir, I just want to say a comment to you. I'm like, what's with that? She was like, you're the first person I've seen put your meats and your vegetables on the counter first. I'm like, what do you mean? She was like, you'd be very surprised. People will put the meats back in the vegetables and eat all the junk food.
Because one of the things I've told the grocery store, I said, if I ever own a grocery store, I'm going to put my candy in the back if I even sell it. And he's like, you'll never make it. And I said, why? He said, that's the number 2 seller in the store. Outside of the medicine aisle, health products and things like that. Outside of medicine, that candy. He said they make like $3 million off of that little corner store, the little local CVS store, off the candy. That's why it's up front when they leave and everything else, down in the magazines.
Right.
That's just sad.
It is.
Now, what is your view on health in terms of Africa, or just African Americans, or a view here? I have a view, but I want you to hear yours, of European and other cultures and things like that for what we have here.
Well, what I say the difference is what's being taught. Like I said, when you're African American, the first thing we think is fried.
Mm-hmm.
That's everything is fried. I mean, fried, we don't know what bake or grill is. It's fried. Even if we have a cookout, we done took a nice, healthy piece of meat. By the time we done finished putting everything on it, we done turn into basically artery clogging. And so, and we need to get rid of that method of finding different ways. You know, there's different ways of fixing potato salad. There's different ways of fixing macaroni and cheese. But we're taught to lose loads of things that gonna kill us. And you gotta realize the foods are different now. I mean, just take for example, I was reading an article one time, they put ammonia in meat. You know, we're looking at say, wow, put ammonia in meat. And we don't realize what we're doing to our body. The meats are not the same the way it used to be.
So now I can clean the floors with my meat.
Yes, clean the floors. Believe it or not, they're putting it in, and we're making it so bad, they said it was some of the meat that the schools use.
Yeah.
In the United States. So it's like,
I can imagine that.
wow, we're putting ammonia. And so, you know, and as I look at it now, that if the changes that we don't make any type of change and start absorbing these things, and me personally, if I want to kill off, my opinion, if I want to kill off a race, let's keep having more fried franchises open up. Let's keep open the fried fish places. Let's keep doing those things.
You see that in things like that.
Yes.
Because unfortunately, it's expensive regardless of what race. It's expensive to eat healthy. I have people who spend all their money, can't afford it. They're really on Food Line, if not, you know, dollar store budget. But my thing is, I tell you, you can still eat healthy at the dollar store.
Yes, you can.
And you can still eat healthy if you can't get to, and I know there's different grocery stores all over the country, but you see every other grocery store now, including, besides, it used to be, now we're just going to focus on have food in the aisle for different cultures, especially Hispanic. Now we are having a healthy food item. But now you can go to Food Lion, you can go to Winn-Dixie, Kroger, Circle K, Wawa's, you know, Big Lots, or whoever. There's foods, there's health, you know, I can't name all the big grocery stores all around the country, but they're expensive.
Yes,
And I understand. Now, the funny thing is, when I was in New York recently, sometimes the healthy food is just as on par expensive as the regular food. And so now you have a choice to make, and how I'm going to feed my large family.
Right.
So it's just kind of strange with that.
Yes. Well, you know, but the thing about it, you can find ways. That's the one thing with clients, always base their eating program based on their funding. Mm-hmm. For example, people realize that, say, dark meat has a lot of good protein in it. Really, it's high protein than white meat. And also, I discovered that dark meat helps lower cholesterol. Now, if you took a leg and a thigh, you got a family, a pack of drumsticks usually come about 12 in there, for example.
For like $4.39.
Right. You can take that, not bake it. I always tell people, don't do the baking, because you got to realize when you bake that chicken, that grease is sitting in it. It'll absorb it. That's why it's recommended to grill it, to grill the chicken or roast it, because it will strip the fat out. So if you take a few of those drumsticks, like 2 drumsticks, just say for about 18 grams of protein, you're stripping that fat out. Like, for example, like everybody been experimenting, instead of using frying the drumsticks, they've been just battering it with a little bit of light flour and baking it.
Okay.
And using it like with that. That's what we're doing. Okay, let's take a look at a bag of rice.
So we're going to pull the skin, well, back to the chicken, we're going to pull the skin.
Right.
Okay.
But even if you, person say, I got to have a skin on it. But even if you're boiling it, you're still stripping that fat out of it. And so, for example, canned food is not the best, to be honest, because, you know, when you got something that can last in a can for over a year, as we know.
It's got all that gelatin, the sugar, and all the other stuff to keep it going.
But that's a lot better choice than you sitting there eating a bunch of junk here.
See, now, you know what I used to do? My mom would tell you this a lot. So my grandma, I used to eat the corn and buy me a bunch of corn. Right. And I used to just eat corn with a little bit of butter, or I used to have cornbread with syrup and mash it, or just eat that all the time. Right. Or, you know, and I know you get like 99 cents each, but like for $1, you used to get 4 broccolis frozen. So I used to just eat that with cheese all the time, or some other things as a snack. And I know that people thought I was crazy. Or when we went on bus trips, I always drank a lot of water, tea, or I drank a lot of hot tea. Like, I never got sodas. Hardly. Or if I drank soda, it was always like, you drink the light sodas. Coach would never let me have anything else. Right. I mean, but you know, I still have some issues, but nowhere near what I know some others went through.
Right. Exactly. You know, and that's the difference was, I mean, to be honest, as we know, soda was a treat for us when we lived in the country. You know, it was basically we drank a lot of water. You know, we might have a little bit of Kool-Aid there, but in the country, we had to survive what we had. You know, it's like everybody had a garden. You know, we went to my uncle's house. You know, we eat tomatoes and cucumbers and always eat healthy. We went and picked blackberries or blueberries. Just we had nothing else to do. Let's go pick some blackberries. It was always a healthy thing. Now, if you look at it, everything is about convenience.
Gotcha.
That's the problem, difficulty we're having. How can I make this stuff I'm not worried about this kid eating healthy. Because if I was worried about this kid eating healthy, I would stop practice from using corn syrup and fructose if I was trying to live a healthy life. Now it's about the money. You know, not so much the health, but how much money can I make?
And then I noticed, for instance, back home in Westmoreland, a lot of the areas where you had farmland has now changed, and now the farmers are getting pushed out. So now you have big business or other businesses that want to come in, and then you don't have that food that that was raised at one time on the farm. Just like in my neighborhood, for instance, there used to be kale that used to grow in the ground.
Correct.
And my parents would go take that up, clean it off, and then that would be another green or another vegetable we could have. But now, nobody has time. Everybody's on the go. So now, grandma used to have a garden. She'd have potatoes there, she'd have tomatoes and all kinds of other stuff, figs and everything. But now, you don't have time.
Now, let me ask you for this. Anybody hit us up on the Facebook page?
Yeah, I had one or two.
All right. What they got to say? Or who's on there so I can say hi?
Let me see. One of my friends, Marcus. Actually, he sent it to my page. He didn't send it to the
okay.
The other one, but
Marcus, you're gonna have to learn to join in the program. You're gonna have to go to the ENLIVEN Radio MixLR or the Facebook page. So make sure you get on us and say hi for us, okay?
He just wanted an idea of some healthy things he could eat for breakfast.
Okay, I got some ideas. Go ahead, sir.
All right. The main thing, Marcus, the biggest thing is like your convenience. I always tell people I have the quick fix, and then I have the time consuming. But most of the time, the first thing we'll start off with just say oatmeal. I always look at just saying plain oatmeal with some cinnamon, with a little bit of organic, like a teaspoon of even regular sugar. What that does will help lower cholesterol and have like one boiled egg with it. That's the quick way you can do something. But if you gotta have some meat, buy a turkey sausage or lean cut bacon. Even though I'm not so high on pork, but those are center cut type things where the fat is a little bit lower there. If you're in a quick fix mode, grab a Greek yogurt, because you can eat that and it'll take you no more than 10 or 15 seconds to eat on your way home there. So that's what I say. And also another thing, a good cereal that people always talk about, but you got to be careful, the regular Special K. What people don't realize, the Special K with the flavor got lower protein in it. But the plain Special K is a bust. It has more protein and plus also has a slow digesting carbohydrates to help your body throughout the whole day with that. So those are the options that you can have. Like I said, you can have one boiled egg, oatmeal, or a bowl of Special K, or either, like I said, even have a Greek yogurt, as I call it, my quick fix in the morning time.
Now, let me ask you this: the cuts of meats. What's your favorite cuts of meat? We got all these different things. I'm looking at one. You got ground beef steaks, oven roasts, pot roast, beef briskets, stir fried beef stew, beef cob-outs. But then you have the different types of cuts, and you have chuck, brisket, plate, flank, short line, sirloin, rib, tenderloin, top sirloin, bottom sirloin, round, shank. Which one is your favorite?
I would say most of the time I look at it depends on my budget, first of all. But usually
I appreciate the honesty.
Just being honest. But just say, for example, with tilapia. I love tilapia fish.
Absolutely.
Now, there's a big difference of one store and that another store. I'm not going to say I'm not going to put that on a store that I go to, but there's a comes a time when I'm like, I'm only working with this amount of money. So I'm going to buy this, whereas even though it might be more in the bag, it's not as good as when I pay a lot bit more money. But just say I'm a sirloin person. I'm a basic person when it comes to meats. The one thing I'm noticing now, I have to go to more fresh cut chicken.
Okay.
What I'm noticing, where I used to buy my chicken in a bag that's frozen at of course, there's these big wholesale places. What I've noticed over the last couple of times, the meat is getting tougher. And you know, when I'm looking at the size of the chicken breast, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm eating this and it tastes like I'm eating rubber. So I'm like, wait a minute, they took this meat and put more red meat in it. And that's the difference what I'm noticing. So now that's why I'm very careful. But what I notice, like I say, sirloin beef. Like I said, with steak, it all depends on, you know, a nice T-bone here and there. But I'm not particular on steaks too much because a lot of things, like I said, it all depends on my budget. You know, I know a lot of people that may have me a good steak. But we also got to take a look at, now I'm getting older, I look at things different. I'm like, wow, can this clog my arteries up? Okay. You know, even though I'm eating vegetables and things like that to help digest it out and working out. But now we don't know exactly what they're putting in this meat now.
Yeah, I've seen some with bones and things. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Okay. I became president of the United States. Okay. Right. Mr. Conley is in my office. He's, what position you want? What position you want?
What office are we in? What are we doing?
No, I'm president of the United States, okay? I already got Sean, my friend Sean is head of security. What position you want?
Well, you got my Secretary of Defense then. Let me do education.
Okay, so your education. So I'm putting you, Mr. Stuttervant. I want you now, head of my health, okay? I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay.
Now, we got the laws out here, but you know they get to do what they want.
Right.
Okay. What are you putting in place? If I'm putting you before Congress, and I'm saying I need 5 laws changed to get us to a better society, give me 5 laws.
Wow.
Yeah, I put people in the spot.
I would say one of the biggest ones, I feel number one, is food stamps.
Okay. What do you want to change about food stamps?
You cannot buy junk food.
Okay.
You will have to go and start buying healthy choices. Because I look at saying, when I'm in the store, look at Rick. Rick has a lot of healthy choices. I noticed that. You can't go out there and buy no ice cream.
But see, the argument that I hear, okay, and I'm not in agreement with all these arguments, okay,
right,
but I'm just playing devil's advocate. And especially in New York, a lot of people are in shelters, homes, things like that. They can't bring food with them.
Correct.
They have to eat out a lot. Sometimes they need a quick fix, and sometimes I need that bag of popcorn chips to keep that baby crying or whatever. So I can't buy healthy foods because you need to store and contain them, and I can't bring food into my shelter, or I'm limited because I got this one-room apartment. I was just me and my 2 kids.
Correct.
So why?
I would think because I feel like the healthier people eat, the better they will take care of themselves. They realize the better you eat, the better your brain functioning. I mean, take for example, we have a gene in us that when we get stressed,
we eat.
They know we like to eat. So they put a certain ingredient, I can't think of it, in sugar. When we eat it, we gotta crave it. We crave it more and more. So what do you think will happen? Just say some of the people that are getting assistance there. We load them up with a brother jump. And let's be truthful. Let's take a look at the crime rate or strung out on drugs or alcohol.
Wow.
It's a high percentage. So it's like, okay, if you teach them how to eat, and you know, let's keep them in one setting. Let's keep them in one setting. And then before you know it, here we go. Somebody acting up, or 50 cents on a dollar. You know, is this money being used like it's supposed to? Is it food? But they don't look at that. They just, okay, let's go load them up. You know, when Dollar Tree start accepting food stamps, you know what's going to happen there. A lot of junk food. They know these people, I hate to say it, they're killing themselves. So it's like, oh, well, we ain't got to worry about them. But if you change where they have to use their own money to buy the junk food, I feel it will make a difference. But if you're telling me you eating these quick fixes and saying, okay, a bag of chips, I mean, Mr. Willow will tell you, we used to watch kids eating Cheetos at 1 or 2 years old. We used to work together going to these people's houses. And you know, it's like 1 or 2 years old kids eating Cheetos.
I wouldn't, my mom would not, my mom would have a fit. And everything. She used to make me do all these health tests and things like that, and as a kid, and I know she's sitting there smiling, and it's end to end that she did all these things. So, hello, Miss Velma Jean Harris. Sykes Niblet. This is going to call it all out. So
Did you just say all those last names?
Yes, I did. Just that she's going to be a little bit mad and stuff like that. So I'll do better.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a call. In fact, I'm looking at my phone now to make sure she's not calling. Okay, so number 1 is food stamps. Number 2.
I said number 2 would be the requirement of a physical fitness test. Everybody should be required. Just say, for example,
You know that's a big issue with jobs.
right, with these jobs, because people don't realize, they don't know our health is going up because we don't take care of ourselves, and insurance people got to charge a lot more. Now, as we know, we live in a percentage, the higher percentage, of course, is the people who middle class to lower. All right, now let's take a look. Let's be real with this. Most of them do not exercise, getting assistance. You teaching me to be lazy.
But I would give you an hour off extra a day if you were to run.
Right.
I would give you an hour off benefit if you meet a certain goal. For example, let's say you're in shape, but let's say you're 300 pounds, but you're different body structure. Okay.
Right.
Now I have no business being that weight, but I'm just going to continue on. But you know what? I have to pay health insurance for you. Cool. And it's costing me, but I have to raise the cost that's affecting everybody. If you lose 50 pounds, 100 pounds, whatever, let's say, what's the fair number, 75 pounds a year?
Well, I say, usually I was, like doctors recommend between 2 to 4 pounds a month.
Okay, so let's just say 50 pounds, just for the sake of argument, 50 pounds for the year. You lose 50 pounds this year, I'll give you a $3 pay increase, and you lower your health insurance by $25.
That'll work.
Or, better yet, how about I give you $1,000 extra at the end of the year, or you get an extra vacation?
Right.
How come we can't do that?
Because I feel like a lot of people don't have, because of so much that's being advertised. It's very difficult. I mean, as we talk about convenience, say for example, the average family out here now, especially involved in sports. All right, what time do you have to sit down and fix a meal when you're running by McDonald's or Burger King and they got a dollar menu? Before you know it, you're going there and eating that. And you're thinking, okay, let's be for real. Compare going to Subway compared to going to McDonald's or places like that. McDonald's will give me that faster. I ain't got time to sit there and get a roasted chicken or anything like that. So it's about the convenience. And so as we take a look at those things, the average parent is sitting there saying, wow, I gotta hurry up. I gotta hurry up. I gotta hurry up. Convenience. That's what it's all about. So what they know, that we live in a place where everybody is always on the go. So let's figure out a way to pull them in. Let's pull them in, because you know some of these restaurants did try to help you out, but guess what? They're not making any money. Mm-hmm. So let's take it a different route. Let's put the calories listed up there on the menu. And I'm looking, I'm like 1,300 calories in this combo here. But guess what? It's fast and quick. Then before you know it, if I'm a doctor, I'm sitting back relaxing. So you can come visit me soon.
Okay. So now, number 1, we got rid of junk food out of food stamps. We're going to make everybody required to take a physical fitness test. Number 3, what's the third law?
I would say the requirements of education. I know that's a part of Mr. Ritter said education there. I feel like the nutrition of teaching a more of, if you are, I notice we're back to social services. Mm-hmm. I feel like a nutritionist need to be involved with social services. And what I mean by that, of somebody going in and showing these people how to properly buy foods, how to make better choices. That's what leads to number 1, what I said about cutting back on what the people can buy. But I feel like you gotta have, if you're involved with social services, let's work on the nutrition piece. Let's have them saying, hey, you know what? You got to go see your nutritionist at least once a month to work on your eating habits. Because the better you eat, the better you can show your children how to eat. And guess what? Everybody will be happy in the household. It can make that much of a difference when the system getting cleansed out. It's almost like when a person starts to lose weight. When you lose weight, you feel great. When you start eating healthy, watch how your system feels. So if you can change this way of people start caring about themselves and send a social worker in. Send them in and say, you know what, we got to start working nutritionists now. What do you mean? Yes, you can start working nutritionists. Because we're going to show you how to make proper choices, foods that can last a long time, not foods that last for a week.
Okay, so you're going to add nutritionists in schools.
Yes.
Okay, now we're going to need about a whole bunch because
exactly.
there's a lot of kids in these schools.
Right.
Okay, so number 4. Okay, I got Congress pissed off right now.
Right.
Okay, Congress, I'm holding the fight. Okay, I'm standing by. I got your back. Give me 2 more reasons over I need to keep you as my health person.
Because I'm looking at how children are starting to appreciate their education.
So what's a law?
A law.
So give me 4.
Number 4. Well, I said number 4 law. I would say more of parents being accountable.
Parents being accountable.
Parents be accountable. Because let's be for real. When you have a child, when I'm at school, some of these females, I'm not going to say the males, but mostly females, these girls weigh about 250 pounds and they're only 11 or 12 years old. Somebody needs to be held accountable. Because I feel like you're killing your child. And then the first thing they always say, why are they so big? I don't understand. Can a child go and buy the food? They're getting it, they're sneaking food. Guess where they're getting it from? It's not like the child got the money to go up there and say, hey, I got this money, I'm going up in the Kroger's, or I'm going up in the food line, or 7-Eleven. They're buying it for them. But guess what? They don't want to make no changes themselves. Me personally, if my child is having health problems, and to help my child live, if it comes down to me eating leaves, that's what I'm gonna do. But I feel like parents need to be held accountable for the action of these children with cholesterol. I mean diabetes now. Diabetes, they're talking about now kids getting checked at the age of 6. Diabetes was something that we used to get checked with 30-something, 40-something years old.
It's like 60 when you're saying now you're checking like you're 6, yeah.
6 years old. I mean, it is, but I feel like parents need to be held accountable. You know, you get to become an adult and you start eating, that's on you. But as a child, why press this child now, especially when you're some of them stats? Here it is, 15,000 children by. That is a lot. You know, all because of what you decided not to show your child how to eat healthy. Now I'm gonna eat my own thing, I'm gonna have this chicken, I'm here. Well, you know what? For the sake of my child, like I said, I will eat lettuce and leaves.
There we go. Now, give me one more law. I'm sitting here, Congress is mad, they're trying to kick me out. I don't care, I'm standing by you. I need 5 things to stand up there.
I'll say one more would be and I know, can I step on
Step on toes
a little bit? I just said.
We're about honesty and stepping on toes.
It's just for me being involved with things. I hate to jump on the radio side of his offense or education. I'm good. My biggest thing is parents being, I know they're accountable for not only with that, them being accountable for the education piece.
Okay.
The education, add that inclusive into it, because I feel like with parents working in this education field, we do a lot of parents that basically don't care about the child's education or the well-being. You know, because I look at when we're caught up and we're telling them that this child is acting this way. Well, he don't act this way at home.
So,
well, we got an issue here.
Exactly.
And some of them, and when you meet some of them, it's like, wow, the apple didn't fall too far from the tree. And you know, we take a look at, let's be for real. I mean, always giving my students stats, because you know this world is evolved on stats. And let's be truthful here.
That's right.
When we look at 50% just said African American males don't finish school. 50% Hispanic. And, you know, just estimates, you know what that is.
It's more than that. I fight with that all the time. That was my first show. I fight with that all the time. And my whole thing, and I've got a lot of criticism, there should be a national law. You have to get a GED or high school diploma. Or you don't get any benefits. You don't get your taxes. You don't get anything.
Right. Exactly, because it's one of those things when I was when I was teacher of the year at my school in 2010, and I was sitting at the table, and it was talking about how the statistics are showing, for example, that in the third grade, jails are based on that being built on stats in the third grade.
Yeah.
I'm like, hold up here.
It's
Not
based,
colleges.
no, it's based on, well, it's based on, they do that third and 11th year, third grade when you graduate off of middle school and high school. So they look at the number of kids that have graduated and may not have graduated, so they decide the number of jails and prisons off of that.
Right.
And unfortunately, because we let it go with our black kids, now this is why we got so many minority children. Everybody's involved in these gangs and foolishness now.
Right.
It's a greater percentage of us in foolishness that we have no business being a part of.
Exactly. And you see those things like, it's like, okay, why not come? As we know, a lot of students not talking about going to college. We know a lot will be successful. But I'm looking at, instead of spending time in jails, why don't we build more training programs for these young men and women? Why not do things to try to help them, to let them start to see a future, but they believe in, all they believe is just the environment that they're in. They don't see nothing else out there. Like us guys sitting there, we done travel. They haven't been outside the box. And so in the world and where the environment is teaching them, this is all that they know in school education, and it doesn't help matters. I mean, I'm not knocking on the rappers and knocking on athletes.
Oh, I will.
Let's be truthful.
I have no problem. Go ahead.
When you sit there, you're a professional athlete or you're a rapper, how many of them that you see, let's be for real, how many you see them pushing education?
None.
You don't see it. When they do, their kids are going to private schools.
But my biggest complaint all the time, okay, and they say, oh, don't tell me what I can do with my money. I said, screw you, because it's no matter what you do, there are a lot of people focusing on what you're doing, and you have an influence. My biggest crime, I'm against Jay-Z and a whole bunch of them. For example, he was pushing, why keep pushing the same stereotypical foolishness? Well, every time somebody gets some money, well, I want to open up a clothing line to sell more hood clothing, jewelry, sneakers, jersey, or some type of restaurant that's going to fail, okay, or club. Now, he got mad over the fact of just a few years ago that he couldn't open up this 40/40 club at Atlanta airport like some of these other cultural airports. I said, so what? Use this opportunity. How many minority flight schools do we have? So now we need how many black pilots we have. It's great. How many, or not just black, just any culture.
Well, exactly.
There's something like, flight attendants, navigators, air traffic controllers. Train all of them. Have something like a program straight from high school to aviation school. Right. Now, okay, I would have a little bit more respect for you. Or how many of these female rappers now, especially in the female rap game, okay, you're not lasting too long. They got rid of the category at the Grammys.
Exactly.
Okay, so in all the award shows. So now, okay, how about not to stereotype women nurses, but how about we could use more nursing programs? Well, okay, we could need more teachers. We need more things. I give you one more. We don't have enough black men as educators because it's hard to provide. And here's my issue, or just men, period. And maybe you could speak to this because you're in this field of issue now. I fussed that because the salary is so low, in my hypothesis, because the pay is so low for education, men are going away from it. Okay, and don't want to deal with the drama anyway. Right. So now we looked at as the leaders of a home, trying to pay the bills. We got child support, whatever the case would be. I can't do all that in a teacher salary. So now how I'm going to pay my car payment, my wife's car payment, the house, and help these kids as a teacher coming out earning somewhere between $27,000 to $35,000 a year, even with my master's starting out for the average area, okay? Because now we're spoiled. We see stuff here in Northern Virginia, D.C., the bigger schools. But what about the rest of the world, or the U.S. for that matter, don't live near? The majority of kids are living in the big cities. So now, forget it. I let that woman do it. I'm going to go off to be something else. So that I think that if we increase the money, we can get more men and teachers. Would you agree with something like that?
Oh, yes. I mean, because, the teachers are the ones that help the doctors. Help everybody making these millionaires or billionaires. They had to learn from somebody that came from an educator. And it's a shame that we're such underpaid for all the work that we do, the things that we got to put up with. And, when we sit back, I don't think one millionaire or billionaire can sit there and say, oh, I grew up and everything happened to me. No, they learned in the classroom. And that's the thing about it, where education, we're always saying teachers need to do this, we're always going with the technology. You look at the factories. I mean, it shouldn't be a thing where a factory, we have to go overseas for sneakers to be made. Why can't you build a factory here? But why? It's about the money. But the teachers are always the ones that getting the hard look about things. Y'all not doing it. Y'all not doing it.
It's not the teacher's fault. It starts at home.
Right. I hate to step on the shoes with this, but these are the ones that make the rules of education haven't stepped foot in the classroom, to be honest. And we're laid down to it. You got to take care of these things. You make sure these kids, as we talk about all the time, you cannot teach a child who don't want to learn. We can come up with the best technology. And if you look at areas just in lower income areas, why in America, that's one thing, that's a law that I changed. I just thought about something. I noticed on the Willow Field there, why do every school have to have different books and different computers? Every child in America walking should have the same opportunities, but not every child got the same opportunities based upon, I forgot, the taxes.
Or the money. Yeah, like this was my biggest rule. Okay, I said, as a leader, I would, and not to get off the health subject, everybody, and I apologize. but this is already off. I'm off the boat, but I'm swimming right now. Back to it. But my biggest issue is, how come I want to investigate the lottery system? They say because all the money they say, it's going to performing schools. If you give the money to the non-performing schools so they can have the stuff, because for example, down Georgia, people still like 7, 8 years old. There's still people who got history books that still say Reagan's in office. Okay, like every kid in all these schools don't have a book, and they answer saying we're going to give them a tablet, a computer. That's not the answer. You can give it to them all they want, but if you don't lock stuff out or you do all these other different things, it's not going to work. Or what's happening? That computer the school goes on is the only computer they have in the home.
Correct.
And then so then the parents will use it and everybody else, and you got all these other problems. So that's a big issue.
Yes, it is. And that's what I say is unfair that they don't take a look at this, especially with SOL schools and different things, that some of these kids don't have those things to educate them. All they know is, and I always laugh at, some of them corner convenience stores, they will have the quick phones that they can buy, those types of things. Yeah. And it's like, this child needs a computer to have exposure. And in certain areas, as we know, the kids are already ahead of schedule on everything else. They're like above. And it's like, wait a minute, how can a neighbor in school have more than this school had? And we live in a society like that, and we're supposed to be in America, we're supposed to be equal.
But now every school doesn't have it. In Virginia, they got wind tunnels and people from NASA and stuff. I'm like, doggone, all that stuff, and how much crazy I would even been if I had all of that stuff. So it's really wild. Now, I'm going to swing, since we were talking about reading books, you have a book.
Yes, I do.
Where's the book at? May I see the book? Thank you, lady. I appreciate it. I'm going to give her. Say your name again. Zaria. Okay, Mr. Sullivan has a beautiful young daughter named Zaria. Thank you very much for her. See, now this is what happens with a well-behaved child. No matter how long it is, she's sitting here obeying her father, paying attention. Thank you. I wish I had more children like this, and the world would be a lot better. So, okay, let me get off my soapbox. I'm sorry. A Path to, the title of the book is A Parable of Health and Fitness, A Path to Permanently Changing Your Health by Kurt Sturtevant. Again, it's KIRTSTUDEVANT. Are you on Amazon?
Yes, okay. Amazon, Books in a Million, all the major bookstores, websites, Barnes & Noble, all those are on those sites with the book there.
How long did it take you to write this book?
Well, I started off with, it took me about a year, because I started off with one part I started. But when God started working on me, I had to make some other changes that I added into it. And so it took about a year. And the funniest thing I always tell the way you treat people. And my pastor owned a publishing company, and I had a client, Allison, and had her husband John, and it was she was editing it, and we had another editor, Miss Aleppo. She edited the first time, but then I decided to make some changes. And so Miss Dan was there. She edited a book, and then all of a sudden, with a big surprise in the gym, right before my birthday there. And she was like, I want to show you something, somebody's a published author. I'm like, huh? Well, her and her husband had the book published for me along with my pastor. So I was going to work on getting it done, but they surprised me and had it done for me, which I'm so thankful for them.
Cool. I want to give over to ISB numbers. It's done by 68 pages. It's publisher REBENI Publishing. I'm not sure the correct pronunciation of it. As an English language, ISBN 10 number is 193-665-606X. Again, that's 193-665-606X. It's a cool book. And I know there's a lot to do spiritually. There's a lot to do with this, and I can appreciate that. Tell me a little bit about you go to church here?
Yes.
What's the name of your church?
Chesterfield Christian Center. I've been there since 1999.
Who's the pastor?
Tom Lashley and Carolyn Lashley.
Carolyn Lashley. Okay. Cool. What's the church website?
Churchfaithzone.com.
Okay, so I love this. You're on point. What's the address? Where is it located at?
It's located right on Iron Bridge Road. Some of you are familiar with it. It used to be Iron Bridge Park.
Okay.
It's a Herod Daniels Park now. We're about, if you give it a turn in there, but look to the left, it's like 2 houses over.
What color is the building?
We meet at a house, believe it or not.
Okay, what color?
The house is white.
White house.
White house with brick at the bottom.
Okay, you cut the grass?
No. They take care of that. What you trying to say?
They take care of that. I just want to make sure.
But if they ask me to, I'll make sure I do it.
Okay, not a problem. So we're having a membership drive. So y'all in a long-term building fund plan too.
Believe it or not, it could have been a switch different building. But what happened, he didn't want a traditional church anymore. And what is so great about it, it's about maybe 20 or 30 members, but we just sit around and discuss the word, and each one of us got an opinion. There's no music, he preaching the word there, and then we discuss the word, an open discussion, where you get to state your opinion on what's going on in your mind. And and people always think that you got to go big. You got to realize it's about getting that word, that message in. I don't care what size church you go. If you know a point and you read it yourself, receive it, you might as well look out. Because I hate to say it, the preacher can't get you to heaven.
Okay, now we were talking about listening and all of this. He who ignores discipline despises himself, but whoever heeds correction gains understanding. Proverbs 15:32 NIV. So this is about developing ethic and listening.
Correct. When I wrote it, it was a tough time I was going through in my life. I had turned 40. I've been divorced now for going 7 years. And most of the time, when people looked at me, it was like, hey, here's this guy working out, and he's got to be happy, because I'm always a smiling person. But then on the inside, I was demolished. And I was at a turning point in my life. What can I do to turn myself around? And I knew I couldn't turn to a person walking. And so, as a person with the church, as a kid, Mom brought us up in it, by a accepting way, but I know I needed something different. And so my pastor always said, Kurt, you got to call him. And so when I was going through my struggles, I just threw in my hands one day and said, God, help me through this. And I had to walk the walk. Like I said, you can get all the advice that you want, but still you got to leave that person, and your mind is going to go where it needs to go. But when I started to learn more about God Himself, and I'm going to send a shout out right now to our mentor, Ms. Goose. She the one that really showed me the way, started giving me tapes. And I started studying things, started to learn. The more I learned about God, because most of the time we read the Bible, people always think, so you try to be perfect. If you read the Bible, you will find every struggle that you're going through in life sitting right there in the Bible. They take time to read it and not listen to others. That's the purpose. You sit down and start reading some of them stories. There ain't one thing that one person always told guys, if you don't know how to be a man, read Proverbs.
Now, how is this applying in addition to your training, to your work?
And what I done was, once I started applying about the spiritual piece, the healthiness of feeding my spirit, the better made me make better, healthier choices in my life. Like say, for example, if I'm going through a struggle or as far as like, oh, I'm tired, I don't feel like eating, I start remembering scripture. Okay, you know what, hold up. Let me make sure. Let me not make a bad choice here. Don't let the devil tempt me here. Let me make a better, healthier choice that will make me feel better about myself. And so that's why I started relating the scriptures to everything in our life, because we don't realize God is a part of everything in our life. Not some things, we're going, oh, he's only here for this church. No, everything. I'm a person that involved in health and fitness. I've gone through a lot of struggles, things that get out of us, with the food, the temptation. The temptations come. I got to struggle with Jesus. I got to think about the word here. It's like, okay, the devil was tempting Jesus. Okay, I knew he's trying to want me to eat this, but I'm not going to do it. So that's what I'm saying, how it relates to everything, especially when people are going through something, struggling with this diet. You know what? You got to get your mind and get the spirit right to learn how to block those things out, because your flesh is telling you, you know what, give me that Big Mac. And then in the end, you struggle. You struggle, let's be honest. Next you eat the Big Mac, guess what? You feeling bad as can be there. The next thing you're like, oh, I'm not going to eat another one. The next thing, here it comes again. I die. You know what, quarter pounders on side. I'm not going to eat the quarter. Go ahead and get it. Let me show you something. This guy, I was about to come to you anyway. Now, I was about to say, how is his, you work with Mr. Studevant. I'm saying that? Studevant, okay. We work with Mr. Studevant. How's Mr. Studevant helping you?
At this point, I'm out there swinging. Let's put it this way. Man, 2000 and something, we worked together for several years and we just stayed in contact. But I was serious about losing the weight. I think the first time we lost like 30 pounds or something in a couple months. And I was like, okay. So then I fell off, and God knows where I ended up at. So then I came back again several different times, and he can bear witness to that. Cause, the second time I came back, this last time, some months ago, like the beginning of the summer, and I lost like 50 pounds in a couple of months. And then I had a family situation, and then I fell off again. So now I'm gonna get back on Friday. So you can hold me accountable for this. And you were doing good, man. Exactly. So anybody who's listening to hold me accountable for this. Starting on Friday, I'm gonna get back on the bike again. Hopefully this time I'm not gonna get off the bike. If a bad situation occurs, I'm not gonna allow myself to fall into that rut again like I normally do.
So in both occasions you lost a total around 50 pounds?
No, it would have been more like 80 some pounds if you had the first time and the last time. Two different situations.
How was your workout? Was it every day?
It was a couple times a week. And then he would make me go do whatever I needed to do on my own, and then come back in. And I'm gonna tell you the crazy part. He could tell when I was BS. like I could come up and be drinking water like I'm supposed to, and he everything's good. He won't say nothing, and I could go off like 3 days and come back on the second cycle. The meeting, he was like, you ain't been drinking water. Your skin don't look the same. And I'm like, God, I can't do that every time I do something. And then he'll just go at me and make me work out even harder, and that'll just piss me off, and then I'll stop doing what I'm doing.
And I hate to throw this in there. We got to tell a joke about you in the water. I got to tell this real quickly to the listeners. He came to me. He had a half a gallon of water. 3 days later, he was in the same spot. He tried to trick me. I said, man, the water's still sitting there.
I've been in his house many times, man. He does drink the water, man. He doesn't have a lot of stuff. He may have a couple of juices, but he has a lot of water in his house. I will say that.
I don't drink it all the time, though. My mom keeps fussing at me like, I'll come home.
I see you water every time.
She be like, no, trust me.
I got you be honest. I got his back on this because if I saw it, I would have said something. But every time I come by, he had new water.
Yeah, this happened when we first started. with the water. That's when you try to put stunts on. I was always going to tell him, I was like, you know, you've been at KFC, didn't you? He used to shake his head because I actually was able to tell, you know, because being this field of work, my trainers used to do it to me, you know, and so I just learned because I care about my class and care about him like a brother. You know, everything else, you know, looking out for him what was best. And, you know, and it's a difficult thing to do.
Now, let me ask you a couple of questions also. Now, people are going through hardships times right now because of things. So I'll come to you. A female, I got a couple of kids. I don't got much time.
Right.
Okay, I have a chart, I have a journal. I look at from time to time. How much you cost? Do I gotta break the bank? Do I go on my checking counter?
You know, to be honest, I know a lot of people are surprised what I charge. It depends on what side of town you're on. I usually charge more than $25 to $30 a session. And the reason why I know that because I want people to be healthy. I'm not in it for the money. Trust me, I can come with any gimmick, anything I can think of. So, okay, let me put clients in. I care about, each one of my clients will tell you, I care about their well-being.
Now, is this session at my gym, your gym?
I go to people's houses.
Okay.
I bring basically equipment there. I mean, a couple I'm working with now, and it's amazing the transition that they have made. Shelley and Scotty Brown, I mean, I love this couple of death. And we did it basically off of bands and dumbbells, and she had sent a great thing. Scotty said his last leap in the belt, and Shelley said she hadn't worn clothes for over 5 years. She now wearing them, you know. And this just started back in November as a little weight loss challenge that I started with myself there with them, and they have made a difference. I mean, both of them are looking great. And it's just based off home equipment, but also with the lifestyle change that they made. You know, they had to make a lifestyle change because both of them said they want to live for their son, is about to go, as I call him, my little training partner there, and my assistant. They want to live for him. And it's such a great thing to see these people make these transitions.
Now, question, how has this affected your life of your family and especially towards your children? I'm sorry to ask you a question, person, but you know,
well, you know, the way I see it, you know, I want them to see, especially my little Zyra out there, you know, and Kurt, there, you know, oldest Sean talking my grandson, the man don't want to show the work ethic. You know, and it's like sometimes they're like, Dad, you're going to train somebody. But they've learned is, I'm like, we got to eat, baby. You know, I was like, I said, don't you like buy these shoes, these games? But I want to show them about a healthy life because even when my kids weren't playing sports, we had a family night. We go to the Y, and they were trained at Y Tuesday and Thursday. So for the Zaria, of all people, for you know, she's there. Can we go to the Y? So they made the importance of taking care of themselves and eating healthy has made a big difference on them, you know, to help them to see these things now. Because sometimes they're not pushing it. Well, I'm teaching them, say, hey, Dad is working hard. He's a teacher, but he's got a full-time job, but look what he's doing non-stop. And I want them to have that work ethic that nothing is given to them. Of course, they're spoiled. But they work hard for everything. So I'm proud of them, you know, they're on honor roll. So.
Mr. Stillman, I want to say, well, before I go, Mr. Sincere, do you have anything you want to add to?
Well, like I said, I'm getting ready to get back in it on Friday. So.
Oh, okay.
You show the shirt. Let's take a picture of that shirt.
Okay. Yeah, you got a shirt in NBBS athletic wear. Give me a second here. I'm going to get this picture. This is wonderful. Now, what does the NBBS athletic wear? Because that doesn't say Kurt Sturdivant to me. Okay.
Well, it stands for Naturally Building Body and Spirit, the name of my business there. The reason why I'm starting this athletic wear because, as you know, there's a lot of athletes that's out here.
Say that name again, I'm sorry. NBBS.
NBS stands for Naturally Building Body and Spirit.
Naturally building body and spirit. Okay.
Because I'm a person that all, like I said, what we do is natural. All God, no drugs. The reason why I'm starting this athletic line is because there's so many athletes out here not true to the game. Let's be truthful. I mean, representing, come on, look how many people in Nike. I know that all of us not perfect. But the one thing I can say, I've never taken any type of steroid, any type of antibiotic thing. And I want people to feel good about themselves. It's not just about an athlete. It's about, hey, you know what? I'm happy of my life what God has presented to me. I'm going to be that person what God has put here. I'm gonna feel like, you know, drug-free, it can mean anything. Drugs don't have to mean a drug, like cocaine. anything that contaminates your mind, that it's got control over you, that it's not in a positive way, that's bringing a negative way, that's what I call a drug.
Okay. Now, how much is that shirt, T-shirt?
$20.
$20. Where can I get that T-shirt at?
You get that T-shirt, you can give me a call.
Okay.
If you're an organization, or if you have more than 12, I got to put in orders. If you're an organization that you have that you want to get one, let me know.
And you go up to size 2X, 3X, 5X?
Up to 3X.
Up to 3X.
Up to 3X. I'm pretty sure maybe I get some 4X out there, but you know, you will go up to 3X.
We're going to have to get a website going for you, so we really want to talk. We got to get this going so we can put your T-shirts up.
Right.
And your phone, again, your name is Kurt, K-R-T, started out S-C-U-D-E-V-A-N-T, and your book is a parable of health and fitness, and you're on Facebook, Natural Building Body and Spirit, and your phone number is 804-481-5544. What's your email?
My email is Kurt, starting with the way it sounds, 99gmail.com.
99@gmail.com.
Like I said, the website is under construction. Just to let you know, it's under construction. Hopefully have it done by the end of this month, I'm hoping. I had a website. We decided to redo it, especially when I started to want to expand my business out there further. So we started to do some things.
Because we about, keeping things real and legit around here. So I want to say thank you very much, sir, for your time.
I want to thank you guys, your legacy, for having me. I mean, it's been an honor here. It's the first interview I ever do, and so hopefully more to come.
Yeah, because we're part of Legacy ENLIVEN Radio, our group and everything. I want to now, Zaria, come on, young lady.
You just want to say, I don't know, mother probably saying, no, you don't, right? My ex is saying, no, I don't even have her up late, but I want to just say one thing.
Hi.
Hi, Zaria. And say your name. Zaria, we're all about public speaking here, so don't be scared, okay? Okay. What grade are you in? Third grade, and you said you're in the honor roll.
Uh-huh.
Now, what is it in here? We say yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what's your favorite subject in school?
Math.
Math. Oh. What's your favorite TV show? What's your favorite book? Cartoon.
One of them. Just name one of it. It don't matter exactly what it is.
Name something you like to do. Oh, don't be shy. I'm sorry. It's okay.
I can't believe she's shy.
She's one of those kids. Okay, well,
Don't worry about it.
listen, but I think we're all about encouragement and empowerment here, so I just wanted to let you know and everything. But now, also now, if you don't mind, okay, we'll go over a whole bunch of things. We can bear with me 15 minutes, 15, 21 minutes, okay? Because we're all about education here.
Right.
Okay, so we'll go over some stuff here. So you don't mind joining me, Nance?
I don't mind joining in.
Okay, not a problem. So first off, we do a lot of different things here. We try to educate the community and stuff like that. One of the things we have is word of the day, or word of the week, I should say, and things. So every week I'm always busting and more busting everybody. So I got a word. Here's the word. I'm going to sit here and oh boy. Nothing here.
He's going.
I got it. Okay, here we go.
Spell the word first before you even start.
Fustigate.
Okay, we're gonna say it here.
Fustigate.
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 Yes, it is spelled F-U-S-T-I-G-A-T-E. Fustigate.
Definition, as he said.
No, get on. Look at that, man. Don't look at that. Stop that shooting, man.
To criticize harshly.
I see. Okay, so now, Zaria, the word is fustigate. F-U-S-T-I-G-A-T-E. It means to criticize severely. Could you give it to me in a sentence?
Let's see, what was the definition again?
The definition is to criticize severely.
He would always fustigate him.
Okay, that's a good shot. That's a good shot. Mr. Conlon.
That sounded good for me.
I see. Okay, we're gonna let that go. Okay, we're gonna do.
Stephen always fustigates me barely about something.
See, that's not nice. Okay, I got another word for y'all.
Logomachy.
Logomachy. Logomachy. Logomachy. Logomachy. Okay. Mr. Sullivan, do you know what that means?
No, I don't.
Okay. An argument about words.
Like we use over the students all over
A dispute, a controversy marked by verbiage, which is an
Argument or debate, right?
argument or debate. Yeah, so now, give me a sentence.
I want to hear you give a sentence once.
That's not how it works here.
Logomachy, right?
Logomachy.
The students always logomachy about. Let me rephrase this. Hold up.
It's a noun. It's a noun. Logomachy. Or you can use it as a plural, logomachies. But it's logomachy. I'll give you one. The logomachy was far more stimulating to his intellect than the reserved and quiet dogmatism of Dr. Morse.
That sounds like you were reading off my sketch. You were sketching that.
Yes, I did read this. Yes, I did read this.
I know, but there ain't too many people gonna talk like that.
Okay. The logomachy that we had about sports is always quite interesting.
Absolutely, because the Giants suck and the Cowboys
See, okay, that's our words of the day. Now we have another thing, a segment that we call Black Facts. And then what's happened in Black history for this week, or this day.
Don't ask me. You can give it to me, then I can think about it so now I remember that.
Right. Okay. What happened? Okay. And I say, I'm not gonna be nice to Zari. I'm not gonna do this to you. Okay. But so, Mr. Sturdivant, this is you. Okay. What happened on May 7th, 1800?
May 7th, 1800.
Yes.
Wow, we were slaves when free, man. We knew that much.
Wow.
Let me see. Let me see. May 7th, Black History, 1800. Oh, man. That's difficult. We think about it.
I'm processing now.
Which means, AKA, I'm looking for the this bastard.
1800. Wow. I'm going to have time to do that.
Okay, I'm going to help you out before he gets the answer.
Just give me an idea.
Okay, it happened in
Which part of the country?
Chicago.
Well, I guess it wasn't the fire.
No. Close. That was good. That was a good shot.
Fire, how do it?
No, it was nothing to do with fire, but that was a big deal back in the day.
Okay.
Fire, Chicago fire.
What'd you want?
That's your homework. Is time you can look up fires.
What'd you want,
Okay. Disable abandons. Okay. Disable abandoned Chicago. On this date in 1800, Jean-Baptiste Point Disable.
Frontier trader?
Yes, see.
What about?
You go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, he's a frontier trader, a fur trapper, farmer, businessman, and the founder of the settlement that would grow to become the city of Chicago.
Oh,
Now, of course, wow, I don't hear that background.
I was thinking about that one.
Now, also,
Wow, that was deep.
his father's Chicago, but he sold all his property for a big area of Chicago. Wow, for $1,200. And left it, $1,200, which was a big deal back then.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe a few millions now, but he died 18 years later and almost penniless and was buried in Missouri, St. Charles, Missouri.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
Are you gonna go with someone else that was born that day too in 1845?
Okay, go ahead.
Mary Mahoney.
Go ahead, man.
Right, African American nurse, the first black woman to hold that position in the United States.
1840. Wow, nurse. Wow, 1845.
Born in Dorchester, Boston. You know that show, Boston? What is the movie? The show?
Boston Public?
No, it was Boston's Finest. Yeah, good detective show. But anyway, stop plugging those guys. You're not paying me. What about?
Now,
I know you got another one.
yes, I got it. On May 10th, 1652.
1652.
1652.
We took a ride in 1607. A little before 1607.
Okay.
So, 1652. Wow.
And what day was it? May 7th?
May 10th.
May 10th. I thought we were supposed to be going on
Sister
today.
You know, we do a week.
Hold on. This doesn't have anything to do with something in Virginia, does it?
This one, yes. It's actually near, not too,
No, this is Northampton?
yes.
This across the water then.
Yeah, you should look this up.
He's a newer with this.
Are you looking this up?
No, I haven't got to it yet.
Okay.
I just remember something about something happening.
Okay, see.
But I can't remember.
1642.
Okay. John Johnson, a free black man. Okay, like I said, it depends on what was going on and where you were.
Right.
He granted, he brought himself out, by the way. But he was granted 550 acres in Northampton County, Virginia, and importing 11 persons.
Wow. 550 acres. Man, that's a lot of acres, boy. Wow.
See, this is the thing I'm saying, not just in African American history, but just a lot of history of other people that had a lot of great deals in African. The point about this is that there's so much black history out here, besides King X, whatever,
exactly.
a bunch, not just here in America, but in other countries. And my goal in this show was to talk about a variety of different things, educate.
I'm going to tell you the funniest thing. I've talked to Will about this. Believe it or not, I've had Caucasian students knew more about black history than my African American students. I mean, I was like, wow. I mean, you know, I had students that knew about Malcolm X and knew what Martin Luther King's birthday. I'm just being honest. I mean, I had some African American students one day. Now I was like, why do we have Monday off? He said, we don't know. Caucasian student said it. It's Martin Luther King's birthday. Don't you know that? I was like, you know.
Let me give you one more. Black facts. May 11th, 1965.
We're moving up.
Yeah, I got a century behind.
64, 68.
Blacks held a mass meeting in Norfolk, Virginia, and demanded equal rights for voting ballots. Other equal right meetings and conventions were held in Petersburg on June 6th, Vicksburg, Mississippi on June 19th, Alexandria, Virginia, on August 3rd, Nashville, Tennessee, August 7th through 11th, Raleigh, North Carolina, September 29th through October 3rd, and Richmond in September, September 18th, and Jackson, Mississippi, October 7th. Basically, it's a unilaterally formed group of people that just basically held a bunch of mass meetings just to try to help get people get our rights to votes.
See, that's good to hear that, you know, because, you know, every time I was talking about 1960s, because I was Alabama, Mississippi.
Yeah,
like, there was only two places, but everything occurred in. You know, it had to be around other parts of the country, but that's all we know. We look at every history movie or anything showing us Alabama, Mississippi. It never showed like there were any rallies in Virginia or places like that, you know. It was very interesting.
Now, let me give you a couple of people real quickly. Rosemary Brown, born in 1932, 2003.
Oh, she was recently.
Rosemary Brown has the distinction of being the first black woman in Canada to be elected public office. She was elected to the British Columbia Legislative Assembly in 1972 and served on a provincial legislature until 1986. She was also the first woman to run for leadership of a federal political party, finishing a close second in the New Democratic Party leadership race in 1975.
You know,
That's some powerful stuff.
Right, it is. It's very powerful because all we know is sports. That's all we know is sports. You know, I mean, like the first open heart surgery, you know, things like that. Most kids don't know. It's like, no, but I can tell you who Jesse Owens was, for example, which is no problem.
Black kids don't even know Jesse Owens. People don't even know, Jesus, Lord forgive me. A lot of kids people don't even know Carl Lewis.
You're right, it's Flojo.
Yeah, and all that stuff. Now, let me give you another one, a historical person. This is one of my favorites, Susanna Baca. She's still alive today, 1944.
Susanna Baca. What did she do? The nose sounds familiar.
She's Susanna Baca, and some pronounce it Baker, was a recording artist and the first Afro-Peruvian to sit as a cabinet minister, born in 1944 in Corrales, a seaside district of Lima, Peru, to a working-class family. Her father was a chauffeur. Her mother worked as a cook and laundress for upper-class families. Baca began singing at home at a very young age, inspired by large and festive weekly family gatherings, and encouraged by her mom's passion for various local musical genres. Her father also played the guitar. Baca grew up in a multicultural environment, not particularly aware of her quote-unquote blackness, because it wasn't a focus, but as it was here. But she clearly recalls the first moment when she felt discriminated against while in high school. Okay, she and other non-white students were not chosen to participate in school dance because of their skin color.
Wow.
Now, it's amazing that, this is other countries, but it's like, I tell people out in Peru and Uruguay and a lot of other places, all this stuff wasn't there. They had a lot of them freed as soon as they brought us over. And we fought around and do other stuff. It wasn't until we were doing stuff here, in some other countries as well, was forced down on them. The influence, you might say. And they got put down there, and it's amazing what's going on with that. Wow. I do have also a couple of more things. One of them, we usually do Book of the Week as well. One of my favorite books I've read a while back was Cultural Intelligence, Improving Your CQ to Engage Our Multicultural World. It's basically teaching people about youth, family, and culture. And this 21st century is diverse, and Christians and other people must understand cultures and communicate effectively without being offending others and understanding. You may not have to agree, that's no problem. But a lot of people don't know how to improve themselves. So there's a CQ, which is considered cultural intelligence, and the ability how to work effectively across national, ethnic, and even organizational cultures. So this is a very good book, and it is written by David Livermore and also Chap Clark. The ISBN number is 208 pages, by the way, by Baker Academic. It was published in February 2009. And the ISBN number is 08010358899. Again, that's 08010358899. Another book that helped to go along this was Cultural Intelligence Difference, Mastering Skill You Can't Do Without Today's Global Economy. Now, the way that is, some people understand how, sensitive we are towards different things, or we should be sensitive and respectful. By the way, I hope they change that doggone name to the Redskins. I really do. I know people are ticked off. Some say leave it, some say whatever. And I know some people are whatever, but I'm sorry. Partly because I have Native American roots and cultural roots. Also, it's just like, what if we had a team called the Negroes? How about there would be angry or the N-word? So why a racist term? If you, any other place you can you call yourself a redskin, is considered racist, but it's okay for sports. That just bothers me. But
It's called the dead skins.
hey, but this is a notebook that basically teaches you how to multicultural workplaces in the financial markets and how to understand how money played in culture. When it comes to negotiating with international suppliers in overseas markets. So it helps me understand how your money's working overseas and why it affects our rates.
There's another book to look into, because that's where a lot of things I've learned, a lot of multicultural, even in teaching. I feel like as teachers need a lot more multicultural training
Exactly.
to understand each other's culture, because we live in such a diverse world.
I just did a paper work with a friend on that one about, the importance of multicultural training and the barriers that goes along with that. The page is a hardcover book. You might find there's soft covers in some places. The publisher is by Amacon, AMACON, originally published May 30th, 2011. It's 224 pages. The ISBN number is 081441706X. Again, that's 081411706X. Another thing that we do is a technology moment of the week. We typically pick on Apple or anything else. But previously we talked about laptop coolers. We talked about Office. We talked about the cloud. Now today we're talking about surge protectors. Okay, it's one of my biggest gripes. I hate.
This is your world.
But this is something that needs to be in every home.
Right.
Okay, the reason why I'm talking about surge protectors is a lot of people have a lot of HD TVs. You should have it anyway long before technology have improved. But when you use and I usually do with my laptops and things like that, I carry a surge protector, but with your TVs and household computers, you should always be on one. Now, you can't just use the cheap little $4, $5 when you see at Walmart or Family Dollar. There's a certain number of joules that needs to be had. Now, I'm not going to try to bore people with the stats of joules and the numbers and things like that, but basically, when you have a computer connected to it, you should have at least 2,200 joules. I used to say 2,000, but now with the power and everything that's going on, at least 2,200 joules. Now, it may cost a little bit more, $30 or so, and people are like, well, why do I need all this, that, and the other? It helps because now when you get a certain surge, you're not having any problems, and stuff is not going out. Because here's what happens. People don't realize there's thousands of surges that goes on, hundreds that go on a day in your home. You just don't see it because of technology now. One thing that people don't realize that when electrical pressure lasts for more than 3 nanoseconds, it's called a surge. When it lasts for 1 or 2 nanoseconds, it's called a spike. So that's what happens, and you'll see those things. And that little nanosecond causes a lot of damage that can also kill you.
Wow.
Okay. So now it helps to have that. In addition, now if you have HD TV, if you have anything over 40, it shall be under again about 2,200 joules. Now, if you have anything that's over 42 inches or more, should be over 3,000 joules.
Check mine again.
Yeah. Now, if you have somewhere where the battery backup, you can go ahead and back that down a little bit because the battery backup helps ease the pressure with that, but it always should. Now, with the other things in your house, you should always have, smaller surge protectors and things like that. Honestly, almost everything in your house could be, theoretically, should be behind some type of surge. One of the major things I've always encouraged people to do is either in your bathrooms and also in your kitchens. People don't install those fault deterrent surges. So like if water, and I know I'm saying the word wrong, so please forgive me, but if water hits it or something happens, boom, it shuts off everything. You do grounded surge protectors, and I don't understand why. You see all these expensive homes with safety and security. Sometimes the last thing they do, because I know at one time the rubber outlet be $1. But the other one would be $30, $35. So if you got like 100 outlets in your house, and so you're talking about $100 versus $3,000. You know, but I'm thinking about the safety because heaven forbid Zaria or me or somebody comes touch something, we got a problem.
Well,
And if do you have surge protectors in your home?
Well, we do, because that's one thing alone, especially with, like you said, spending money. You know, back in the days, we grew up with them extension cords. It was extension cord. I said, you don't pay no attention, you know, and like you said, someone got so much power. It's almost like the treadmill. You know, people don't realize how much surge is going through a treadmill.
Because and then they need to be behind a surge protector too.
Right.
And so a lot of things, everything should be behind those things. And that was my main thing because it irritates me. I see people with these old, when people need to stop. You know, these brown surge protectors and wires, they got like 20 items plugged to it. Well, it's fine, leave it alone. You know, instead of buying that extra Happy Meal or that extra something, but go to Walmart and buy something. And just take care of that thing because that extra and saves you because you know what's going to happen? Heaven forbid a fire happens. Fireman walks through, sees that, oh, there goes your homeownership policy, and now nothing's covered.
Right.
Now you got that? Oh, I got a list of all the surge protectors and this and this and this. Okay, you cool. And everything. And a lot of times the good expensive ones you have to register and email. And I know people say, geez, another thing I got to keep a register and password. But the thing about it is, heaven forbid your TV goes. Guess what's gonna happen? It's covered. Off that surge protector. Right. And also you got your warranty off the TV. So there's a lot of different things that you could do. And, yeah, maybe a little bit hassle. You gotta call them and do all this other stuff, but it saves you the long things of that. So, you know, what do you think, Mr. Sincere?
hey, I'm along with you. That's why I have several of mine, including the surge protector for the main TV and the one in the bedroom. But I definitely need to.
He's got one in his car too, just want you to know. That's Mr. Electronic Man, trust me. Round sound. Even in the car, round sound.
Well, you gotta have that's creature comforts. Well, that's part of you know, happens to happens. It's my fault. That's it.
Some of these I'll take care of. I understand what I do.
I have two good news. Two more things is we have good news stories of the week.
Okay.
One of them, we try to save poverty, and people are having some problems to get money in, clothes washed, and stuff like that. And it gets a little tight out there.
Yes.
Now, what would you say if you could wash clothes with your feet?
Wash clothes with the feet. Well, you know, I'm old school back in the day. We used to wash them,
Okay. Well, we'll go switch it up. A new product is designed for social good uses that in principles, sort of like a salad spinner back in the day. You know, it makes less back-breaking work to everything. There's a patent pending called Geradora. It's a human-powered washer and spin dryer that increases the efficiency and improves the experience of hand washing clothes.
Wow.
The user sits on top of a drum and pumps a pedal with their foot, which agitates, cleans, rinses, and spin dries the dirty laundry. While providing a comfortable, ergonomic, and efficient way to clean clothes. And it also affords the opportunity to generate income by investing in a model for under $40 and doing laundry for others.
Okay. Wow.
Are you bringing a person?
Actually, you know what? I would like to do that. You know, anything, you know.
What's the cost on it?
It's $40.
That's not bad at all.
You know. Another good feel-good story is a cat returned home 6 months after Hurricane Sandy.
Wow.
And,
You know, laugh about your animals. You know when they had that tsunami? They had it years ago.
yeah.
Believe it or not, not one animal was killed. They said the animals went on top of the mountain.
They already knew it was coming.
They knew it was coming. You know, and they said this guy was saying this elephant was chained to a tree, and the chain was, there's no way the elephant broke it loose, broke the chain loose, and all the animals went up there. But you know, we sit down and watch the tsunami while the animals
It's like, you know, if you see, look, if it happened in the Bible, pay attention. If you see it in the movies, you see a bunch of animals.
It's the water coming.
If you see Simba in the field, We need to go with the animals.
I will say that I'm going to really be that close behind them.
You say the cat did the whole thing. The cat was like, you know what, I'm sitting back, I'm going to hang out here about 6 months, I'll be back.
You know, exactly. You know,
Cat knew that.
you know, watch the, Madagascar. We're gonna listen.
I'm going, I hear it coming, I feel it.
Exactly. But no one can detail the cat's amazing journey, but the thing somehow managed to travel 8 miles to find his Tom's River home. Portia, it was the cat's name, was presumed lost until a week when the familiar meow was heard from the back deck of the house.
The cat, I guess he got fed well. Every feed over 5
Now, this one caught my heart, okay? A boy who lost his feet, but not his spirit, inspired his brother to run for Boston amputees. Okay. Now, in July 22nd, 2008, his little brother, Michael, rushed to the emergency room with a serious bacterial condition. His condition quickly worsened, and unfortunately, he went to shock, coma, and he was oxygen deprived for 4 limbs, resulting to be a quadriplegic amputee. So he had to get both his feet and hands and arms now. Okay. But now, this boy is out here playing football.
That was awesome.
Okay. After the Boston Marathon bombings, he felt really bad about this, and people were having a hard time. So to help raise money, and also the other people and everything, both him and his brother are now running for the New York Marathon and other places to help the families. Because a lot of people are giving up, a lot of people have their legs and other things. Now he's out there running to show that you can still get up and do it.
That's what it's all about. Never giving up.
Yep.
No matter what the situation is, and that's the one thing I always take a look at people.
Gotta walk away.
Well, people always complain about their lives. My life is not what it's supposed. Did you look at this man with your 2 feet? That's something you can take a look at, to be honest. These young men are doing this.
What happened with you? So it helps a whole lot to keep things going. So.
Exactly. That was awesome.
Well, that's just the things that we try to go through every week and to keep stuff going. And as a closing thoughts, what did we learn this week? Mr. Sullivan, you're the guest. So what did you learn this week?
The first thing I learned this week, just seeing what's coming here, and the fact of not really Black history there, because that is a grammar that I feel like needs to be pushed more overall, but to show African American students, and even any other culture, to learn is not a one-dimensional world. That we had parts of history, and I'm pretty sure it's Hispanic history. And that's the one thing I'm learning here more and more about this, that we need to learn about each other's culture instead of just going about hearsay or she say and dictate what's going on. How about we sit back and learn about people, learn about the cultures there, especially in those books. How to make sure I look those accountable to find those things in you.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I have this up on the site.
Yes.
Did you learn anything this week? Not just to say here, but did you learn anything this week?
Not really.
Not really. Anything in school? What you studying in school this week?
We didn't really have any studies, we're just preparing for our SOL test.
Okay, I need to go to real school. I tell you, I would have been know these are, this easy. What did you want to do? What are you going to do this summer?
I don't really know so far.
What do you want to do this summer?
Go on vacation.
We're on vacation.
So where we have either pool or beach?
Portland Beach, Virginia Beach, New York, Miami, Disney Beach.
I want to go, like last year I went to Daytona, Florida, and I want to go back again since it was so fun.
Okay, good. That's right.
Let's keep poking your dad on that.
Mr. Sincere, what did you learn this week?
I had to learn some patience at work Monday because I received a new client.
Okay.
So, God help me. That's all I'm saying. In a positive manner.
Yeah. Okay.
For now.
All right.
Yeah, so that's.
And what are we dedicating this show to, Mr. Sullivan? Who are we dedicating this show to?
Well, I'm dedicating, first of all, God, for giving me an opportunity to wake up another day or wake up to make a difference in somebody's life. I'm the type of person, it's not about self. It's about helping others. It's about sowing and reaping. That's what I look at with this, This is a great opportunity you guys are giving me, especially from a business-wise standpoint, we don't go way back. We don't skip a beat. That's the one thing I can say. We will not skip a beat. And it's about sowing and reaping. And a lot of people that might be going through struggles right now, you got to realize that we all got to look out for each other. Try to help each other out, especially with things going on in this world today. But like I said, that's the biggest thing, sowing and reaping. Continue, as long as you help others, no matter what the situation you're going through, and you put God first, you'll be very surprised when you're in a situation that will pull you through.
Amen to that. And if, did you want to dedicate, Zaria? Do you want to dedicate this show to anybody? Family, friends, anybody sick, anybody?
I don't really know specifically. I guess I dedicate it to my friends and family.
Good answer. Anything. Mr. Rubin, I want to say give shout out and thank you for getting everything going and everything. I appreciate it, sir. And
just one thing, a shout out to, all the friends from the grandchild I mentioned, to Swift Creek, to Cleveland High School, to the farm, to Virginia State, to Fallen Creek, to the teachers, and everybody else, everybody that know me, and I always laugh at a friend of mine that said, Beth, the things that reality come true, a person listen to. But just send a shout out to everybody, mad love for all the Facebook friends there, and everything else there.
All right. And Mr. Sincere.
Well, first I would say big news for getting us back on the air, because if it wasn't for his talent, and you kicked it back, we would have missed a golden opportunity tonight. Besides that, Chris said it best when you thank God that you're able to hear and do what you do. I'm saying because what him and I do and have done, not seeking the financial gains of the world, but seeking to help kids and needs since we started. And it's a labor of love. But love is really starting to get run out on this side, because I'm really starting to see that there's some other things I might need to be doing besides this, but that's just the biggest thing, the kids, because without helping them, by helping them, we're also helping ourselves. So.
All right. Well, first I want to do a housekeeping. First off, I want to give a shout out to the sponsors, our Little Pizza and Pasta, both in Willow Lawn and Short Pump location. 4925 West Broad Street is the Willow Lawn location. And the phone number is 864-5336. And the Short Pump location is 4920. 4030 Gathering Place out there in Glen Island, Virginia. The phone number there is 726-5336. Great food. Also want to give a shout out to Cars Unlimited down at Brian Harrison, 804-588-9553. Great cars, if you need any trouble, repairs, anything that you need, he'll take care of it. The website is carsunlimitedllc.com, which is CARZUnlimitedllc.com. Also, you can go to LeoPizza.com and find our stores. And also, I want to give a shout out to everybody at LegacyInternetRadio.com for getting us going. Ain't No Hot Stuff that comes on Mondays from 7 to 9. Also on Wednesdays, Greasy and the comedians, Larissa P. The Green Room 2.0, always interesting, always exciting, and great fun there on Wednesdays from 7 to 9. And also our new shows, we got a lot of good music that's not going to be cut off I forgot the name of the show called, but there's a lot of good music in things that we're having on Thursday nights. What's the name? Did you just play that? And that's from 7 to 9. And we may get to it a little bit sooner. So again, thank you everybody out for your patience and love and your support. Make sure you check us out on Facebook. You can look up ENLIVEN Radio, ENLIVEN Radio. Our picture, we have our picture of a sky with a road sign that says opportunity, next exit, and that's how we treat it here. Also, like us families, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, or anything, make sure you hit us up. Also, you can check us out on, send us an email, on ENLIVENRadio@gmail.com. That's ENLIVEN radio@gmail.com. You also can check us out on the MixLR mixlr.com/ENLIVEN Radio. And our YouTube channel is coming up, and we got some shows, and this one will be up on there too. I thank y'all very kindly for everything and your support. Good night. God bless, and be good to each other. Okay? Bye-bye.